Listen to Alfred.
Shaftesbury Town councillors have supported plans for a Lidl store on the cattle market site. The Town Council had objected to the store's design back in June. Lidl has since amended its design. If Dorset Council backs this proposal, Lidl could open by the autumn. Lidl say their new store will encourage people to spend on convenience goods here in Shaftesbury, rather than travelling out to Gillingham and Blandford. Their senior consultant, Victoria Burton, addressed Tuesday's planning meeting and claimed that the supermarket would make a positive contribution to the viability and vitality of Shaftesbury. Councillors were pleased with Lidl's redrafted application.
The initial plans for Lidl's were not as good as they could have been. They have been improved.
That's Councillor Peter Yeo. At last March's town meeting, the then Mayor, Councillor Piers Brown, said he couldn't support plans to put up a big tin shed, a steel and glass structure in Shaftesbury. He disliked the design of the Lidl store in Blandford.
As this building is going to be incredibly prominent as people enter the town, the glass tin sheds of Lidl's around most of the country probably didn't fit aesthetically with what most people associate Shaftesbury to be. So in their new amended plans, where it is a lot more in keeping, I think it's a very welcome addition.
Lidl has since altered their choice of building materials and are now proposing a brick facade. Piers said he wanted to thank Lidl for covering the building in bricks so it's a little more in keeping. He said it was a pretty damn good application and is on the side of what people in Shaftesbury want. Lidl say that an artist will be commissioned to create a public art display on the southwest side of the store. Ms Burton told the meeting Lidl intends to secure the services of a local artist and they'd appreciate the Town Council's help with this. She wasn't able to specify whether the work would be a sculpture, mural or painting, but told Alfred it would be fixed to the wall. She was also unable to offer any indication of the budget for the art when we contacted her on Wednesday. Access to the proposed supermarket has been one of the most controversial points. When Lidl suggested creating an entrance leading off Christie's Lane, councillors were concerned that queuing traffic could block the fire station exit. Councillor Philip Proctor had previously suggested that Lidl's entrance should run from the access road that links the Tesco roundabout to the Tesco store. Victoria Burton explained that the access rights over that roadway, which the cattle market site occupants had enjoyed, were lost when the site was sold. Lidl's legal investigation had confirmed this. For us, it's very difficult to sell a store where our main competitor has control over our access, Victoria told the meeting. Councillor John Lewer asked whether Lidl had contacted Tesco to ask if they could share the access road. No, Victoria replied.
It's a difficult situation because the best route to get into the new Lidl store would be from the road that comes from the Tesco roundabout going towards Tesco. However, Tesco have the rights to use that road and they're not going to let Lidl's use it.
Well, Lidl's hasn't actually asked though, has it?
That's absolutely true, but the chances of them agreeing to that are probably about zero because they're a competitor. So obviously, as Lidl's said before the meeting actually, the only option they had was to have the entrance off Christie's Lane, and they've obviously come up with a plan which is the best solution they can come up with.
Dorset Highways consider that the store will increase traffic flow, but they don't expect the impact to be severe. Cars coming from Ivy Cross will be able to turn right into Lidl using a new filter lane. John Lewer wasn't convinced that was the best solution. Whether you think a new entrance on Christie's Lane is a good idea or not depends on how often you use the bypass, he observed, adding that there will be more traffic than at the cattle market. Victoria said the proposed road widening can be accommodated within the width of the existing highway. The new road layout will include a new pedestrian island on the Tesco roundabout side of the filter lane to improve crossing facilities on Christie's Lane, she said. The bus stop would also be moved here. The footpath in front of the Lidl store will be widened from 2 to 3 metres to create a segregated cycleway and footway, she added. Dorset Council has insisted that the cycle parking facilities are in place before the store opens. The road widening does come at an environmental cost, though. Shaftesbury Tree Group has objected to the application because 2 beech trees planted to mark the Queen's Silver Jubilee will be felled. Those trees form part of a leafy avenue along Christie's Lane. Councillor Yeo was disappointed by the loss of those established trees. He said they'd be cut down because Dorset Highways had insisted on a wider entrance, and a 3rd tree on the site will be felled. Ms Burton promised that replacement trees of the same species would be planted, and Peter Yeo was assured that they would not be saplings. Lidl say 13 new trees in total will be planted around the site, and that satisfied Councillor Alex Chase. The jobs, the competition and the choice for the people of Shaftesbury must override that when so many more trees are being planted, he said.
Sadly, I think you can't stop progress for relatively small things. You can only fight battles that you think you've got some chance of winning.
That's Councillor John Lewis.
I'm content that we did the best we could to balance the interests of both the firm and the environment.
Enmore Green resident Caleb Fulford attended as a member of the public. He spoke to support Lidl's plans and twice suggested that the supermarket chain could make a £5,000 donation to the Tree Group. The two Lidl representatives present didn't react or respond to his idea. Miss Burton wouldn't confirm whether a donation would be considered when we spoke with her on Wednesday morning. Councillor Peter Yeo wanted better provision for electric vehicles. 2 charging points are being proposed, and Councillor Yeo wanted to know whether any Lidl stores had more units. Victoria said she was unaware of any. She said that Lidl was proposing investing in more expensive, faster charging facilities because shoppers generally spend less time in Lidl's smaller stores. The shorter store dwell time also influences the store's parking time limit. Shaftesbury Chamber of Commerce has been unhappy with the loss of free, all-day car parking spaces when the cattle market site closed. John Lewis told the meeting that locals were also unhappy when Tesco reduced their parking time for 3 to 2 hours. Lidl is proposing 90 minutes of free parking. Councillor Yeo asked Lidl's 2 representatives whether they'd increase the parking time. Victoria said the 90 minutes maximum stay could be reviewed if there were empty spaces after a few months of trading. Councillor Chase said that there is no car parking on the site at the moment, and Lidl's car park would automatically create more car parking for the town, and he thought that an hour and a half was ample time for parking.
Lidl generally goes for 90 minutes, and 90 minutes is enough to have a pop into town and then come back and do some shopping in Lidl, or the other way round if you prefer, and then be on your way. So I think that's a pretty good situation to be in.
Lidl also say there'll be a programme of archaeological investigation before building work takes place. Their proposed store is close to the listed Ice House in the grounds of Barton Hill. Victoria reported that Dorset Council's conservation officer hadn't raised specific concerns. Councillor John Lewis abstained from Tuesday night's vote as meeting chairman, but Councillors Yeo, Hollingshead and Chase supported the application.
Definitely, yes. To vote to support someone coming into the town to offer jobs, to offer consumer choice and to offer competition to Tesco's is fantastic. And the fact that they've listened to the town council's objections previously and amended their application is just a good news story.
Councillor Piers Brown, who's not on the planning committee but who attended the meeting, agreed. He said the new store would create more jobs and reduce food prices for people who are struggling to get by. The strongest endorsement for Lidl came from Councillor Yeo. He told the meeting, "I like Lidl, they do great stuff," before reminding councillors that he was deeply unhappy about the process behind the cattle market sale. Peter is confident the supermarket will get the green light from the planning authority in Dorchester.
It's pretty certain that the proposals for the Lidl store are not going to get rejected by Dorset Council.
As Shaftesbury Council has now supported Lidl's plans, Dorset Council officers will now likely decide whether the application can go ahead. Victoria says it normally takes between 9 and 10 months to build a store, so Shaftesbury's Lidl could be open before Christmas.
Listen to Alfred.